Gerald R Ford Presidency. The minute Gerald Ford sworn in to be President of the United States, he inherited a number of political problems. Even though the United States had withdrawn from Vietnam, the war there still raged on. In addition to this, the economy continued to suffer from stagflation. Stagflation means persistent high inflation combined with high unemployment and stagnant demand in a country's economy. In his early life, Ford was born in Omaha, Nebraska, where his parents lived with his paternal grandparents. Ford was never formally adopted, but also didn't live with his biological parents. Later, when he was older, he said that his biological father had a history of hitting his mother. Before he became the President of the United States, Ford married Betty Ford, and they had 3 sons named Michael, John, and Stephen, and 1 daughter named Susan. Gerald R. Ford was born Leslie Lynch King Jr., but wasn't called by that. He was born on July 14, 1913. He was the 38th President of the United States. He served as President from 1974 to 1977. Ford went into office upon Richard Nixon's resignation and had been the only person to serve as President and Vice President of the United States without being elected by the Electoral College. President Ford was a Republican. In 1976, Ford narrowly defeated Ronald Reagan in the Republican nomination, but later lost the presidential election to Jimmy Carter. Before becoming President of the United States, Gerald R. Ford served in Congress for 25 years. With his well-liked and ideologically flexible personality, he won the role of the House Minority Leader in 1965 and held this position until he got elected to be Vice President in 1973 under Nixon. Living a long life, he died in this home at age 93. He had lived longer than any U.S. president ever in the history. He once stated in a speech, "Inflation, our public enemy number 1, will, unless whipped, destroy our country, our homes, our liberties, our property, and finally, our national pride, as surely as any well-armed wartime enemy." Ford had a lot of problems he needed to fix, and the one he chose as the most important and top priority was getting rid of the inflation. The war was a ton of money and was ultimately making matters worse. The prices of everything in the economy were increasing also. He needed an idea to make things better. His idea was to start a crusade called Whip Inflation Now, also referred to as WIN. He cut federal spending while urging Americans to conserve energy and practice thrift. Unfortunately, the president's crusade failed and inflation kept increasing. It was the highest it had been since the Depression's end. The economy just needed time to get back to normal. Slowly but steady, the economy began to balance out once and for all. Not only did he have the challenge of mastering inflation, but he also had to revive a depressed economy, solving chronic energy shortages, and trying to ensure world peace.